I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. Hey, yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and
After the French and Indian War, taxes such as the Sugar Act, the Stamp Act, and the Tea Act, and more were imposed on the American colonists in hopes of making up for lost money.
Unfortunately for the British, these new taxes angered many of the American colonists. The colonists thought it was unfair to be taxed without any say of where the money was going. They called this taxation without representation, and they found ways to protest.
The many violent and nonviolent protests, tensions in the colonies were at an all-time high. Americans were beginning to hope for independence from Britain, and British Parliament continued treating the colonists poorly. Our story starts in 1775 in Concord, Massachusetts. Colonists were hiding gunpowder and weapons in Concord in hopes of defeating British troops who were stationed in Massachusetts. British General Thomas Gage learned this from British spies and planned to seize the weapons from the rest of the colonists.
General Gage, I heard that the colonists are using weapons and gunpowder in Concord.
Is that so? We must take it from them so they cannot do any harm to us.
We can't let them know we're coming. We have to head there during the nighttime.
Let's assemble our troops and sneak up on them at nighttime. We'll take gunpowder and weapons so they cannot have power over us.
Good plan, sir. Let's round up the troops.
Luckily, the British weren't the only ones with spies. Paul Revere and William Dawes were Americans who were acting as spies for the colonists.
Well, then what is that? Do you see that group of men in red getting closer?
Is it the British soldiers? Those lobsterbacks better stay away from our troops. Why are they heading this way?
Maybe they're after for our gunpowder. We should warn the troops. They need to know the lobsterbacks are coming.
Let's warn the Minutemen so that they can get ready to fight.
The British are coming. The British are coming.
So the Minutemen found out the British troops were on their way. When they met and battled in Lexington, the British were victorious. By morning, however, the British made it to Concord. Here the colonist troops are ready, and this is a victory for the Americans.
That was a tough battle last night. We lost so many men in Lexington.
I thought we were going to be able to defeat them, but they were stronger than us.
We can't let that happen again. Next time we meet up with those redcoats, we'll be ready to push them away.
Now that it's morning, I think the remaining men are ready for battle. Let's march toward them and drive them away.
The colonists are coming down the hill.
It's okay, they'll just run away scared like they did in Lexington last night.
They're not stopping, they're not giving up. They look so angry. Maybe we should leave.
Our troops need to get out of here. So many of us are really wounded. Let's go!
Of 1775, the Second Continental Congress met and decided to create a continental army made up of soldiers from all of the colonies. Their leader would be George Washington.
Later in Boston, Continental troops were building forts on Breeds Hill and Bunker Hill. This worried British General William Howe. He ordered an attack.
The Continental Army are creating forts. This is when they're getting stronger and ready to fight.
What should we do? How do we stop them? Their forts on these hills give them an advantage.
We need to stop them. It's time to go to Breeds Hill and attack the Americans.
Let's get our troops and march up the hill.
Let's drive them out of their forts.
The British troops are coming up our hill. Let's keep them flying and attack on report.
The men told us not to shoot until we see them wide of their eyes, and then when they're nice and close, we'll fight back.
We're getting close to open fire.
The American colonists were able to ward off the first attack from the British troops.
Up the hill! Attack the colonists!
The redcoats are coming up our hill. We need to keep them away again, men. Again, the American soldiers were able to hold their ground. Unfortunately, on the third attack, the Americans ran out of gunpowder, and the bloody victory went to the British.
Let's try this again. They must be terrible now. The gunpowder must be running low.
Go, men, back up the hill. Fight until it's over.
I also almost out of gunpowder. This is getting exhausting.
Oh no! They're coming up again. I think we're running low on gunpowder.
You're right. Men are dying everywhere. This is hopeless.
We got them right where we want them.
Now start to prevent They have no gunpowder left. Fire!
Good job, men. It was a bloody struggle, but we came out on top.
This battle was fought on Breeds Hill, but it was misnamed to the Battle of Bunker Hill. This wasn't the only time of an issue for gunpowder for the Continental Army.
A month later, George Washington found out that his army had very little gunpowder left. Instead of panicking, he started a rumor that they had plenty of powder. The British believed the rumor, and it gave the Americans time to gather enough powder.
Men, we have very little gunpowder. This is a bad situation. If British attack us, you have nothing to protect yourself with.
What should we do? Do we have time to get more?
We can't get more gunpowder at such short notice.
I have an idea. I'll set a demand if we have 1,800 barrels of gunpowder. This is no way that the British will mess with us if they believe that we have that much.
But how does the line help us?
It will give us more time. It will, if they don't attack us now, it will give us more time to gather bigger weapons. I also noticed to the colonists to send us gunpowder to the army. In the meantime, I'll send heavy knocks from Boston to the old fort to Conestoga to gather bigger weapons.
I hope this works. It'd be hopeless for us now if the British attack.
Knock to gather guns, cannons, and lead for bullets. The colonists will send us gunpowder to the army. Soon, we'll be ready for anything. We just have to make sure that the British believe our rumor.
Washington's rumor worked, and his army was able to build up enough gunpowder and weapons to be safe once again. General Howe was scared by the amount of weaponry that the American army now had, and he and his army left Boston.
Man, it does seem that the Continental Army has plenty of gunpowder. Look at those cannons aimed right at the city. They're ready to attack at any moment.
I don't think we can afford another bloody battle.
General Howe, what should we do?
I think our best move would be to leave Boston. Let's gather the troops and leave through the Hudson River Valley and take loyalists who no longer wish to stay here.
This isn't over yet.
In the colonies, many Americans were hoping for freedom from Britain. Two important men, Thomas Paine and Thomas Jefferson, declared this need for independence in their own ways.
There we go. Just a few more finishing touches. Hey, Mr. Paine, what are you writing?
I'm writing about all the hurt that Britain has been causing us.
What kind of things are you writing about?
The king, for one, we owe him nothing. We owe nothing to King George.
I agree with that. Are you saying anything else important in this pamphlet?
Well, some people think that our ties to Britain have actually been a benefit. How wrong they are! I'm writing about how America has suffered under British control and hurt after being dragged into their wars.
I think the rest of the patriots would agree with you. I don't have any loyalists to buy a pamphlet, but I know a few patriot friends who would.
We patriots have to stick together. Mr. Paine, once you get that pamphlet done, you should print copies to show other colonists in the area.
We have to oppose the tyranny of Britain and tyrant King George. Let's distribute these pamphlets for colonists to read. I call it common sense because common sense says we're better off without the British.
I have about 120,000 friends who might like a copy. Thomas Paine's Common Sense pamphlet was a success. Over 120,000 copies were printed, and many colonists were persuaded to believe that independence was the key to a better future.
Other important Thomas is Thomas Jefferson. At only the age of 33 years old, he was given the task of writing the Declaration of Independence.
We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal.
Mr. Jefferson, what's that you're writing?
After the British left Boston, the Continental Congress chose me to write a Declaration of Independence.
What is the Declaration of Independence?
Well, it's a document to declare that America wants to be independent from Britain, as filling with reasons why we believe that we should be our own nation and Britain should leave us alone.
I definitely think independence is important, but what kind of reasons are in the Founding Declaration?
First of all, loyalists still think we have to obey the king. However, we owe him nothing. These powers come from God. That's quite not true.
I don't think God gave him any powers, but what does that have to do with us obeying him or not?
I am writing about how all of us are created equal in God's sight. This means that we have basic rights that should not be taken away.
What kind of rights do we have?
I have written about our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These rights cannot be taken away by anyone. And once we are an independent nation, our government will work to protect these rights, rather than squash them like Britain does.
Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? Oh, I can get used to that.
Okay, men, we're back, and this time we mean business. No more whirling around, and no more running away. It's time to defeat the colonists once and for all.
What can we do? How can we stop them and get control back?
We need to take over as much as we can. We'll start in New York and move toward Massachusetts. That's when we'll get really serious.
It's okay. We're more experienced in the Continental Army anyway. They won't stand a chance once we get to them.
In an attempt to stop the invasion, George Washington brought his troops to New York. He planned to stop the British before they headed toward New England.
Okay, man. General Howe and the troops are planning to attack.
We're ready, sir.
Keep it up, men. They're inexperienced and can't keep up with us.
We can't give up. My troops can't surrender. We're not giving up, but I think we need to stop for a while.
Things were tough for the Americans. They had to deal with bitterly cold weather, poor conditions, and very few resources. Many soldiers left the troops to go home and give up on the war. Luckily, there was a twist of fate, and America started to be victorious once again. In Trenton, New Jersey, American troops attacked and captured Hessians who were resting on Christmas Day. After this, a British general named John Burgoyne had a plan to stop the Americans once and for all. He had a plan to meet with General Howe's troops in New York, take over the Hudson River Valley, and cut off New England from the rest of the colonies.
Man, General John Burgoyne wants us to take over the Hudson River Valley.
That's smart. If we take that over, there's no way they can get goods and to from New England. That would make the Continental Army.
That does make sense, but I'd rather take you men to Philadelphia. I'm planning to meet with Washington troops there.
So we're not going to follow Burgoyne's plan? Is this going to have negative consequences for the British troops?
I'm sure General Burgoyne has it all under control.
General Howe was wrong. The American troops had a victory when they encountered Burgoyne's troops at Saratoga Springs at the Hudson River.
Victory is ours. Take that, Britain. Saratoga must be our good luck charm.
I heard that the France was part of our victory at Saratoga.
France? Didn't Britain fight them in the French and Indian War?
Yes, and now the France wants to help us. They're sending us weapons, money, and more troops. This would give us an advantage over those no-good redcoats.
I've heard that George Washington is sending troops here to the south to stop us from taking over.
What should we do? Can we keep control of it?
I hope so. Oh no! I see American soldiers coming from over there!
They're over there too!
They're coming from every direction! Yorktown is surrounded!
We should try to escape.
They have the French with them. There's no way we can compete with this.
What should we do, Lord Cornwallis?
You have no choice but to surrender, men. Come on, lay down your weapons and let's get out of here.
Cornwallis surrenders. The battles of Revolution War were over. In early 1783, Britain and America signed a peace treaty known as Treaty of Paris.
This treaty set out rules for Britain and America. It said that Britain would recognize America as an independent nation. Britain would also give up claims to American land. And America would give rights and property back to loyalists.
The war is finally over and America is finally free. Unfortunately, the war came at a very high price. Thousands of lives were lost, but a new nation was gained.
I am not throwing away my shot. I am not throwing away my shot. And yo, I'm just like my country. I'm young, scrappy, and